a blind bat. I was like trying like not to like, you know, be distracted, but I was like, and she's like, just don't look at the camera.
She's like, the lighting is perfect, just don't look at the light.
I know, like, Welcome back to the Radiant Babe Podcast. It's your girl, Victoria Lynn, and today we have a special guest in the house. Her name is Alyssa Romero. Say what's up, Alyssa.
Hi, what's up?
Alyssa is a hairstylist in downtown Fullerton, Southern California, and she is also a business owner and a girl mom, so you know I had to get her on the podcast. No, but really, Alyssa is great, and I just really felt that God is the one who aligned this all. You know, if you listen to my podcast, you know that every single girl that we have on this podcast, every single person, guest that we have on this podcast is just like God placed them here. So that's what I really believe in. And I just want to give you a backstory on Alyssa real quick and how we met. Well, how I discovered her. It was during like 2019 when I cut my hair really bad. And no, wait, not 2019. It was
2020.
2020.
Yeah.
During
it was at the other salon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before I opened the salon.
Yes. Okay, so my hair was bad because during COVID I cut it. I thought, you know, maybe I could help myself, but
Right. Everyone was doing that, by the way. You weren't the only one.
Yeah, so anyways, bad haircut, and I had been searching for someone online. I'm very like particular with who touches my hair. I don't let anyone touch my hair. I've gone through so many hairstylists. Not that like that's a bad thing or anything. It's just that, you know, seasons and just where God was taking me, I feel like, meeting these people. But she's here to stay in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name. Okay, so anyways, I met her I was like looking for someone on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, I really need someone to cut my hair. And then I was like, this girl that I really, you know, was interested in, like she was like fully booked, and I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. And then I was following this girl, this other business owner from like, she does like cheese boards. Shout out to Lauren.
Yes, Lover Boards.
Lover Boards OC. Okay, so if you like charcuterie boards,
right.
She's like the best charcuterie artist. Anyways, I was like, she was doing like a Q&A on her Instagram, and somebody asked her where she got her hair done, and I was like, her hair looks good. And she shouted Alyssa out, and I did like some research on Alyssa. I was like, I need to go on this girl's Instagram and check her out. So I literally did a deep dive on her, and then I realized like she cut the hair of like the girl, like the stylist I wanted to go to. And I was like, dang, she must be good then. And I was like, I hadn't seen cuts. I've only seen color. But I was like, okay, Lord, let's do this. And
you gotta pray about your next hairstylist.
Yes.
It gets that scary though when you're trying new people. You're like, Lord, please don't let them mess up on my hair because.
Oh, and I've had bad haircuts before.
Yeah, me too.
And it's not the bees. But anyways, we are here now, and I'm just so like thankful to know Alyssa. I'm thankful that God did it that way, because now I got to learn about her and just like who she is as a woman. And I'm just so blessed to be sitting here in her salon today.
I'm blessed to have you here.
Salon Her. So we are in her hair salon, and we're gonna just chat about, she's gonna share with us like her journey to Salon Her.
Yeah.
So Alyssa, I'm gonna have you take away the mic right now, but I wanted to ask you, like, can you share with us your hair journey? Like, how did it start? Did you always do hair? Like, were you always behind the chair?
Yeah, so let's see. So I went to beauty school when I was 18 years old, fresh out of high school. I was definitely a troubled teenager, so I wasn't good at high school. I had a lot of emotional issues, I would say. Was very into, drinking and drugs, and just really didn't have anything that I felt like I would be good at. So, my dad, he always was like, go to trade school. You have to learn something. So at the time, it was just, I did always have a love for doing makeup and doing hair. So the thing that just made the most sense was for me to go to cosmetology school. So I went to cosmetology school, still, wasn't a great student there. Didn't learn much in cosmetology school. And then after, finishing, I had my daughter at 21. So finished getting my license, and then shortly after had my daughter. And once I had her at 21, that was when it was like, I have this license, I haven't used it, I haven't done hair with it. So now that my daughter's here, like, let me try to do something with the license that I have. Went out into the field, tried to get a job at like a salon, pretty much failed at that because I didn't know how to do hair. I wasn't good at it. And yeah, at that time I was more concerned with making money and providing for her, being a single mom. So I did everything from selling insurance to, just all these odd jobs kind of thing, trying to just find something that would make me the most money. All of those things obviously failed. I ended up getting back into the cosmetology field, but I was more so working like for corporate companies, doing education. So I've worked at Paul Mitchell the school. I was an educator there. I worked at little salon jobs, Ulta, Supercuts. Like, that was the beginning of my journey. And then I ended up landing a job with a hair extension company called Halo Couture Hair Extensions. And I worked very closely with the owner, Tina Owens. She has since gone to be with the Lord, but she was an amazing mentor to me during that time. So she just really taught me just how to be like a woman of God in the business world, I would say. And she was so bold with her faith. So that was something that I just really was inspired by. Through that time period, though, I was still not happy with where I was in my career. I always wanted security. I always wanted to provide for my daughter. Me and my daughter's dad didn't have the best relationship, so he was constantly putting me down. Like, he was constantly like, I was just a nobody. And so I was always trying to like prove him wrong in a way. So I finally, was just praying like, Lord, I cannot survive off of the income that these jobs are paying me. Although it's great and it's a blessing and I'm blessed to be here, It was like, I cannot put a roof over my daughter's head. I cannot buy her what she needs. Like, I'm going to have to rely on a man at some point, or you're going to have to send me a husband because I can't do it on my own with these jobs, So I became very, very frustrated at the time. But I would always tell God, I'm never going to do hair. Like, we know that's not for me. And that was kind of my whole thing. It was like, I need you to work on my behalf, but I'm also going to tell you what I'm willing and not willing to do. And doing hair was one of those things. I tried it. I failed at it. I was prideful, thinking maybe like I was too good for it. I felt like I didn't have an opportunity to go to school and do anything else. So I was resentful about being forced and pushed into doing hair, when I was like, well, what if I wanted to be a nurse? What if I just felt like there was no faith in me to do anything other than hair. So there was this big like blockage of me like really fully embracing, that career path. Yeah. So eventually, I formed a relationship with a pastor's wife. I was doing her hair extension piece. And, everyone would always ask, why don't you do hair? You're so good at it. And I'd be like, it's just not for me. I don't want to do it. Like, I'm not doing it. Mm-hmm. I came to her one day and I was like, she's like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm not well. I'm tired. I'm tired of feeling lost. I'm tired of feeling like I don't know what I'm doing with my life. I'm trying to walk in obedience with the Lord. I'm saying no to so many things, that wouldn't be honoring to him. And at this point, like, I'm pretty like upset. You know what I mean? Like, why am I doing all this if it's not getting me anywhere, So she looked me dead in the eye. And this is before I even started thinking about getting behind the chair again to do hair. And she was like, I don't know if this is God or if this is just me, but I feel like you're called to be a business owner. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I was like, really? Okay, that's great information. Can you go ask God how? Because nothing I'm doing right now is looking business owner-ish to me, you know? So I was kind of inspired at that moment, like, okay, Lord, like, this was weird. I don't want to get my hopes up, but like, what if she really meant something by that? Or what if that was you? Yeah. So I went home, and this was the time where I was just like, you know what, God? Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Whatever it is, even if you want me to do hair, I'll do it. Fine. You know, but I'm tired, and I came to a point where I just surrendered. I was like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm not going to do. Like, I'm just surrendering at this point. Literally the next day, it felt like I had this new excitement and this new passion to get back into a salon and do hair and just take that journey of like, yeah, becoming a hairstylist. Yeah. Wow. So at that point I was like 26. Wow. So it took a lot of years from being licensed from 19 to 26, having a daughter at 21, you know, finally arriving at this point of surrendering, you know, okay, God, I guess I'm going to do hair, you know? Wow. Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing that part, because, yeah, some of us, like, hold on tight to, like, you know, not listening to God, and then we have to learn the hard way. And I'm not saying it's only you, because, girl, that's me. That's been me sometimes. And it's just good to learn from other sisters in Christ, like, knowing that, like, you know, we can learn from each other's, like, mistakes, or even, like, if God says go, you know? Yes. Like, we don't need to doubt him and stuff. So I just love the obedience and the faith that you had. Like, did you always have this faith? Well, I mean, obviously you said you didn't have faith, but, like, were you always, like, walking with the Lord? Or just, like, were you like, oh yeah, I know of him, but, like, you know? Mm-hmm. Or when did you, like, start taking him serious? Like, okay, like, this is my Lord, because he's like, you're listening to him to do what he says now. So, like, was it like when was that? I guess I'm trying to say, like, have you always walked with the Lord, or what was your background like as a child?
Yeah. So I was not raised in a Christian home. I come from, you know, a family background of addiction and, you know, prostitution, mental illness, and there were so many odds against me. So no, I was not always walking with the Lord. I always knew of him. I think there was always a seed that was planted in me through my extended family members, as well as my paternal grandmother became a Christian. And, you know, when I was really young, I would hear about the Lord, but it was never like I was modeled like a Christian father, Christian mother. Yeah. I never really went to church. So it took me a long time, but I always had like this seed of knowing, like, okay, I know that there's a God there, but to access that, I didn't know how, you know? So the turning point for me was, you know, becoming pregnant. Didn't know the guy for very long. You know, most people get pregnant after dating someone. Like, I knew this guy for maybe 2 months and became pregnant. So, of course, me being naive, I had hopes that, you know, okay, well, maybe this will all work out. Maybe this was just God's plan. Maybe, you know, but the circumstances were not that. And I hit basically that hard reality very quickly when I realized, like, I'm 21. I'm going to be a mom. I'm not going to have the support that I thought I was going to have. I felt abandoned. I felt rejected. So for me, I was like, the only way I'm going to be able to do this is if I really lean on God, you know? Yeah. So that was really like the turning point in my life where I was like, okay, I was always afraid to fail as a mother. You know what I mean? Like I was afraid that I was just not going to be a good mom. So I really leaned on God to help me in that time. Yeah. So that was when it all kind of changed for me, where I was like, I have this child that I'm responsible for. I don't want her to go through what I went through. Yeah. So for me to like change this cycle of generational, issues,
Yeah.
I really need to do something different. And it was just me really relying on God. Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm always like blown away just by your story and just even just getting to witness the goodness of God all over your life and just like how he's never abandoned you.
Yeah.
Like you felt abandoned, but he was always there and he's guided you up until this point. Like he's with you. So were there ever like any times where, well, obviously you were just like, what do I need to do to take care of this baby girl, and you like, you did hair and you're like, okay, I'm going to get behind the chair now and do hair. I'm going to serve women now. And like when you came back, like, so you're from NorCal, right?
Yeah.
So when you came down to SoCal and you made that decision, like, how did your life change from there? And were you like, oh man, I have to like believe God for new clients? Like, how was that?
Right. So, one thing that I did experience when I surrendered my career path to God, it was like when I knew I was going in the right direction, God really just poured out a lot of blessing on me. I went back into the field like, I'm not doing hair for fun. I'm not doing hair. I'm doing this as a career, and I just really took it very seriously. So I corrected all my mistakes. I always tried to deliver like 110% to all of my clients. Like I've always been someone who really prides myself on being trying to be the most like professional that I could be. So I always just put 110% into everything I did. And I feel like God really seen that, and he blessed me with clientele for that. So I was out in a different area. I had built up a clientele over the course of a year. And around that time, I felt like God was telling me like to move. And that was so weird for me because I'd always been in that area. And I felt like God was calling me to leave that area and to move into a different area. So that was a whole nother test of faith and me just going crazy. Like, God, I can't believe you're calling me to a different area. This is what it feels like. I don't know for sure, but I'm taking the steps to going in that direction. And I'm like, where are you in this? Like, and he did provide, he provided a place for me and my daughter to stay temporarily until we got on our feet. We stayed with my aunt and uncle, and that was a huge blessing for us. So we stayed there, and God just really built up this amazing clientele for me. So that was kind of the path to getting to Orange County. Wow. Yeah.
I love that. I love that you get to share your story now because we're sitting in her miracle salon, Salon Her. And at what point did you were like, okay, like how long were you working behind the chair at your old place? And then like at what point were you just like, okay, I think God is like asking me to step out now and like start my own business?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I had stayed at the salon that I was at previously for 2 years, building up a solid clientele. I had, been there for 2 years, and it was during COVID. They were shutting everything down, and it was just a weird time frame, and I felt very out of control. And as a single mother, not knowing how you're going to provide when doors are just being shut, I was in the process of building a clientele so I can finally get on my feet, and it just felt like a total setback for me not to be able to work. So it was during that time frame that I was like, I don't know what the world is doing right now, and I don't know what this means for me and my hair business and my daughter. And so I started pondering getting my own place. So as I was pondering getting my own place, I was going and seeing different locations. I was saving money at the time, and I would stop and I'd be like, what am I doing? Like, I need to just like chill out. I'm at the salon. Why am I looking to open up another place? Like, but there was always this pulling on my heart, like, go look, go keep looking. So I stumbled across the place that I'm at now. I signed the lease in May of 2021. And it was just supposed to be a studio for myself. I never wanted to own a salon, just like I never wanted to do hair. So it's kind of funny because I always say, like, I'll never tell God like what I will and won't do, because he always surprises me, you know? And so I wasn't looking to open this huge, you know, salon. I was really just looking for a place to bring myself and my clients. I wasn't even looking to work with other women in the business. It was just really for me. And so I found this place, and I was able to fit a couple more stations, and I was just becoming more open to the idea of working alongside other women. I wasn't even gonna name the salon. Like, my mom was asking, like, well, what are you gonna name it? And I'm like, I'm not naming it anything. I'm not opening a salon. It's just a place to bring my clients. Like, it's just Alyssa Romero hairstylist. Like, it's not, what do you want me to name it, Mom? Like, salon, like allure, like, I don't know. It was, I was like, I'm not gonna name it. And so she's like, I'm gonna think of a name for your salon. And I'm like, oh no because I'm definitely not naming it anything that you suggest. I was like, what is it gonna be? Like, I'm so like, so she came back to me, she's like, I thought of a name. I'm like, what? She was like, Hers. And I thought, that's kind of cute, actually. But if someone's saying they're going to Salon Hers, I didn't like the way that sounded. So then I said, you know what? We'll go with like Salon Her. And that was so special to me because, I'm sorry, I tend to get very emotional when I talk about certain things.
Let it all out. I'm here for it. I'm here for just your stories.
Yeah.
We're here for it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think at first Salon Her sounded very strange to me because I was like, what does that even mean? That's not a typical salon name. Yeah. But with Salon Her, it really represented me being, a her in the world, a woman in the world, and not having a husband, not having a boyfriend, not coming from a family of business owners. So it was really just God just used a little her like me, and then, the reason that I was doing all of this was for my daughter. I was doing it for her, so the name, Her and Salon Her just really told a whole story for me, and it was very meaningful for me. So there was times where people would be like, Salon Her, like, oh, like her, like, I'm like, yeah, Salon Her. And then there were a lot of times where people would be like, I love the name Salon Her, I see what you did right there, and so that's kind of like how that happened.
Yeah, and I love that, it all kind of like circulates to like just woman empowerment, like how God empowered you as a woman of God, like just not having a man. You don't need anyone else except the Lord. And then like, obviously the Lord has your husband for you, even if it's like right now, yes, he's not here, but I believe like many of your clients, women of God, are like prophesy that over your life, that you will have a man of God who loves your daughter as well as his own. So yes, in Jesus' name. And I love that. I love your name. And it also, I feel like the name of Salon Her is not just like, oh, like God brought me through it and like, I'm doing this for my daughter, but it ties into so much more because like you serve other women. You're like, okay, God, I'm going to serve other women and help them to feel beautiful in their own skin. And like, it's true. Like when she cut my hair, like all the time she's cut my hair, like she's made me feel like, okay, like I look like a raggedy dog right now, like that needs a haircut. Yeah. And like just one cut, like is just so like, wow. Like, not everyone can cut hair, and she does such a great job at just like, I have a lot of hair. Like I'm like a horse mane, okay?
It's not easy doing a good hairstyle. It's not easy doing good color. It's not easy giving a good haircut. Yeah. And I think that's one thing people in the beauty industry, they don't get enough credit for, is like, this stuff is not that easy. Yeah. It takes a lot of attention to detail. So.
Exactly. Yeah, so she Salon Her, like leaving Salon Her, you feel beautiful. I mean, personally speaking, like I feel beautiful. I feel like a better version of myself. And I think that's like you're impacting, even like if you don't know it, like you're impacting so many other women. And even now the women that get to like occupy the space in Salon Her,
Right.
like they're so blessed that, you know, maybe it was a prayer that they've always wanted to like have their own room of like their own space for like brows or nails or esthetician, like which Salon Her like has all of it.
Yeah.
So all the beauty things, like, you know, so like you're blessing you're blessing other people, but like it's the hand of God, like it's God just showing his like glory and through this one woman of God who stepped out in faith. And I'm grateful for her testimony, because I'm like, it's just like, wow, like having faith is a big deal. We talk about it, people could talk about it all the time, but faith is action. Faith is like, without God it's impossible to please God, and like your faith pleases God. And I guess like my next question would be like, how was it when you stepped out to do hair again, and even to open the salon? Did you ever have like something in your like gut that was like, this is so exciting, but also like, oh my gosh, like there was like, I just did this, and like, and then there's like some any like voices in your head that were just like trying to like just make you like rethink everything?
Yeah, I dealt with a lot of doubt. I've always been a doubtful person. I've always, not had the highest hope, I've always dealt with, insecurities within myself. So I think that's one part that no one sees, is those times where you're building something and you're stepping out in faith and you're trying to pursue this calling or this pulling that you feel like God is pushing you to, but he's not saying, hey, here's a guarantee of what this is going to look like. So if there was a guarantee, it would be like, cool, I don't care how dumb I look, I don't care how crazy I look, like I know that it's going to get me to that, right? But that's just really, it's not how God works. So we don't see what the end goal is going to be. It's literally, for me, it's the way I've managed to get to where I am is by taking these baby steps of faith. I always say, like, I'll knock on all the doors, and see whichever one opens. But the problem is that people don't even knock on the door, they feel a pulling, but they don't even take a baby step. No one's telling you to go full force, but you can take a baby step, even just like with your podcast, like you deal with, really, who am I to own a salon? Like, I've always been someone who stayed in my own lane. I've never felt like I was this leader and this influential, this, that. I've always been like more of a low key person. So for me, there were many times I'd go home and before I had the private rooms filled, before I had people knowing my salon, wanting to work in my salon, I would go home and be like, this is scary and this is like embarrassing, Lord. Like I'm over here who do I think I am? I'm over here Salon Her. Okay, relax. Like this is ridiculous, But, God is so good. Like, it was his plan, not my plan. I didn't plan any of this. Like I said, wanted to open up a studio for myself, but I'm also the kind of person who I've learned that I may have a desire, but God really knows my true desires. And some of the things I think I want or I think I don't want, God knows, like, you do want this. You will be good at this. You just don't know it yet, right? So for me, being a salon owner was one of those things where I never thought I wanted. Being a hairstylist was one of the things I never thought I wanted. Yeah. But I chose obedience over what I wanted, So, or what I thought I didn't want. So when it came to me having peace, like, I think that's a hard one, like being a Christian and walking with God, like, of course it would be nice to have peace. Have I had peace? No, I haven't, but my faith, when I don't have peace, I have faith. So my faith is what carries me in the moments of not having peace.
Yeah, like fighting through the lies.
Yeah, fighting through the lies, the mental battles, you know. Like I said, I don't feel like this was ever meant for me. I feel like the enemy had a whole different plan for me with my my family background, and the plans that he had for me were way different, you know. So for me, it was like, once again, the imposter syndrome of like, who do you think you are? Like, you're gonna be a salon owner, like you know. So that's just where God really gets the glory, though, because he uses the thing or the person that people doubt, and he uses the thing or the person that doesn't look like it will really be anything, and he just, in his time, grows it.
Yes.
So,
That's true. He turns, like you said, you told me, I think it was the last time I sat in the chair, one of your favorite verses was like, he turns beauty into ashes. Yeah. And then like how you were just saying right now, like it's his perfect timing. So I just love that. I love your story, and I love that you're walking in obedience. I know obedience isn't easy, but I heard my pastor say, like, when you're obedient to God, you're a friend of God. And that's crazy. So that means you're a friend of God. He's not just your father, but he's your friend. And that means you hear him. So it's like all the doubt, all the lies, like, it's just like, you know, get out of here, enemy. Like, you hear him clearly, and you're walking on the path. And I love that you share that imposter syndrome, because it's like, as creators, like if you're a creator, you know that can be something that, like, you know, the enemy tries to use against you. And it's like, you know, at the end of the day, like if we're doing this for the audience of one, we know that like God is going to bless it. We know it's for his glory. And I love seeing God's blessing over your life and just unfolding over your life. And I was thinking about it too. I was like, this is crazy. Her daughter's middle name is Faith. So Alina Faith. And I was like, that's crazy that all this time you said she was, we don't speak that over her anymore, but she was a woman of doubt. And God was like, I'm turning you into a woman of faith. Like, and it's just having, like, seeing that, like seeing another woman like walk in faith always inspires me personally. And I'm sure it inspires other girls who are feeling stuck, you know? I'm just grateful for your testimony, your life, and just where the Lord is taking you, because like clearly like he is rewriting your story, and like clearly like, you know, all the things that he has put against you and your family, like you have that power and authority to speak into women who are broken, to speak into women who have like come from certain backgrounds that you came from, because you have that like empathy toward them. You show that mercy and compassion towards them, and that's what we need sometimes. Like I read a quote, it was like, some angry people are just hurt people. And like I was like, oh my gosh, that literally like made me like shed a tear, because I'm just like, I was angry. Like, and I'm sure like, you know, there are some women out there who are still angry and they don't know why, and they're just like frustrated. And it's like, you know, yes, some of it is like generational burden, but also like, you know, they're probably hurt from something that occurred to them that they don't know how to like handle without the Lord. But anyways, that's a whole nother topic. I'm just thankful for your vulnerability is what I'm saying. And I just want to ask you before we close out, do you have any last encouraging words for the Radiant Babe?
Oh gosh, that's a lot. So I'll share a couple verses that have carried me through, you know, the season that I've been in, seasons, I should say. So let me grab them. Okay, so I have 3 verses to share, and I'll kind of elaborate,
Yeah.
So one of them, of course, is Romans 8:28. We know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and who are called according to his purpose. So there were a lot of challenges opening this salon. There was a lot of moments where I was like, I feel like I'm really getting played right now. Like, you asked me to open the salon, but you're allowing all of these insane challenges to happen within this opening, like, you know, but God always reminded me, like, in my heart, I felt like it doesn't matter what this looks like because I'm using it for your good. Yeah. So, like, to get through those moments of, like, how is this happening? Like, God never promised smooth sailing. He never promised there was not going to be a challenge that you were going to have to overcome. But it was like, I'm using it for your good. So anytime that you're dealing with something that just doesn't feel right, doesn't feel like it's God, it doesn't feel like, why would he do this to me? Why would he allow this to happen? He's using it for your good. So there's that one. And then, of course, he will bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and the garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. Yes. So, I mean, that's huge. Like, again, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, by where I was born into, I'm not supposed to be a business owner. I'm supposed to be a single mom who relies on a man, who has toxic relationships, who, you know, uses substances to calm me. Like, I mean, you know, this is not who I'm supposed to be, but this is the path that God has created for me, right? Yeah. So, yeah, I feel that. Like, I gave God ashes. Like, who am I? I'm a nobody, and he gave me beauty for those ashes. So yeah, that was great.
His word does not come back void. He just shows you. His word is so alive, right?
Yeah, and I think anyone who feels like they're a nobody, anyone who feels like, you know, a woman speaking, you know, I'm ugly, I'm worthless, my body looks like this, I look like this man treated me like this, you know, my parents, my dad, my mom, like,